I live in a village out in the woods. As a child, I heard a lot of stories about the monsters that live in the forest and how I shouldn't wander too far. It's always been fairly obvious to me that they were more there to keep me from staying out too late than actual warnings. As I've grown older though, I found that the forest was a great place to wind down, especially at night. There's something about the silence that's so calming to me. It's dark and the air is fresh, and I am alone. It was pitch black outside when I was out on an unusual path that I take through the forest. It was cold enough that I kept my hands in my pocket, but it wasn't so cold as to bother me. The walk was about 20 minutes and I was 3 minutes in. I couldn't hear anything. Usually I'd hear the buzzing of the light shining on the dirt road or the wind blowing against my ear, but not tonight. I heard nothing but for my breath and my shoes against the dirt. A bad feeling grew in my gut. Every few seconds I looked back, but I only saw the empty road. I looked to the side into the dark forest. The darkness covered everything. It was like a void in which anything could stand. A hungry wolf, or perhaps a madman. It was completely ordinary. But I felt watched. It was an itch in the back of my neck that wouldn't just go away. I knew it was completely illogical, but my gut told me to stay on guard. It told me that something was up. Every few seconds I jerked my head back to see if anything had jumped out of the woods and started running towards me. I couldn't help gluing my eyes to the darkness of the woods, ready to see something, anything. I stumbled, my foot hitting up against a large brown root, reaching over the road. It had been so sudden. I felt energy spike up through my body. That simple stumble had sent me into a state of panic. But it was brief, and I couldn't help but blame myself for being paranoid. I had done this at least 1,000 times. Nothing had gone wrong then. Not even the first time I was surrounded by darkness did I feel this scared. What was so special about tonight that my gut felt this way? I kept thinking about that, and I kept looking around. I wasn't scared enough to start running, even though a large part of me eagerly wanted to. That would just be too insane. The next 10 minutes of my walk, each single sound or movement, sent me into a panic. And when I saw an oddly large tree just beside the road, I stared at it like my life depended on it. It was an oak tree, as thick as 5 humans. Its skin was filled with many different cracks. I spotted small cuts into it. Vertical slashes, as if someone or somebody had held a knife practicing cutting. There were 5 of them. I couldn't help but imagine what was behind the tree. In my mind I saw a naked, ghost white figure that would shriek when I saw it and rush at me with rage. But I knew it was my fear speaking. I'd walk past and see nothing. As I walked on the side of the street, the furthest away from the trees, I was about to release the breath stuck in my lungs, but my eyes caught upon a hideous man, standing there with a wide grin on his face, and eyes that jerked into mine, and I saw his smile grow wider as it took one large step towards me, and my heart jolted for the 50th time. I only saw him for a fraction of a second, but that image is stuck in my mind. The man's face was too large for his features. His eyes, nose, mouth were mere pricks on the giant skin of his face. I remember that he'd cut off his right ear completely, and that there was only a small hole right there. He was completely bald, and the wrinkles on his forehead reached up far, almost to the middle of his head. I remember seeing his eyes. They weren't cold, dead eyes, but ones filled with energy and life, as if this was the most exciting moment, something he'd waited for a very long time. and worked very hard to attain. As I was running, I remember glancing back to see his face filled with rage. He was large and fat, and I heard his steps thumping against the dirt path as he ran behind me with a knife raised high. He didn't expect things to turn out like this, I suppose. I don't think I've ever in my entire life run so fast. The pain was gone, the exhaustion too. My legs moved on their own. Something instinctual took over. Something which had dwelled inside of me since the beginning and finally showing its face today. I heard him behind me. For 5 minutes I heard him behind me. Sometimes I ran under lights that had broken, and the dirt road turned pitch black, and it was the scariest thing. I heard his heavy breathing. He screamed. It wasn't anger, but more frustration. There were no words in it, just a bestial, animal roar. I glanced back to see that he had stopped. He just stopped, turned around, and walked straight off the path and into the forest in the middle of the night. I didn't stop running until I was home. I slammed the door shut and locked it, trying the handle to make sure that it was stuck. I heard my heart deafeningly throbbing in my ears. When the fear left me, I fell down on the ground, gasping for air. I realized then where those stories had come from. Thank you for tuning in to the classes of Dr. Dark. If you haven't done this already, do give this video a like and share your thoughts in the comment section below if you enjoyed the story along the way. If you are into such scary story narrations, then do not forget to subscribe to my channel and turn on all post notifications on your way out. Do reach out to me on my social media handles and do tag me as well if you share this video with your friends. Lastly, if you enjoyed my style of storytelling and want me to narrate your own scary stories, then do send them to me via email, or you can submit them on my subreddit. You will find all the details in the video description below. With this, until next time, class dismissed.